Hello everyone, I have a new team for you today that I've been playing this morning and I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's quite a cheesy team and people will hate you for using it, but then again I can bathe in their tears because it's actually done me a lot of good. I've had 2 5 out of 5 sets this morning with this team, so it's done me very well. The point of this team is it's a bait team. You're looking to bait out any counters to Charmers by swapping in a Charmer, defeat it with the Obstagoon, and then bring in another Charmer to sweep. In the back here we've got Shadow Gardevoir, which if you've ever run into it, does a monstrous amount of charm damage just thanks to that shadow bonus. Very squishy though, so you do need the shield to keep that alive. Obstagoon has got some good strong matchups with steels that are the biggest threats to your charm lineup, and it does okay-ish against poisons, mostly sort of Venusaur and the like. The other poison you run into in the regularity is Toxicroak, and that really doesn't like Charmers either, so it's not such a big deal. We usually use the Alolan Ninetales to bait because it's a bit tougher and can take a blow and can do some damage on the way down, whereas Shadow Gardevoir will just go down incredibly fast. Normally with Obstagoon you would have something like Gunk Shot there just because of the number of Azumarill about. In this case I've deliberately gone with Night Slash and Cross Chop because of the presence of steels and how I need to handle them. If this team works well, Obstagoon will be battering a steel type to clear their back to sweep. That's the idea anyway. So let us hop into some matches and see how it plays out. Charge moves on Alolan Ninetales. I've gone with Psyshock as the coverage move, just because Dazzling Gleam is that much more expensive. Okay, so we lead into a Marowak. Matchup with Marowak's okay-ish. I mean, they double resist the counter damage, double resist cross drop, but we do have Night Slash, which is super effective. My opponent pulls off a beautiful switch for Azumarill to catch the Night Slash, which is kind of irritating, but so it goes. We're going to go into Ninetales here and start chunking away at the Azumarill. We're kind of hoping that they're going to throw an Ice Beam, and I think counting the moves there, that was 5, so we're good. And Ice Beam, yep. You can so play rough, but what you can't do if they've got play rough is this, which is farm them for energy. I don't think we even need to shield this one because it's another Ice Beam, and therefore we can just load up on lots of energy, get our health nice and low so they can't farm us in return. In comes the Marowak. We're going to get to another Psyshock there. I don't know if we'll get to a second one. No. Okay, I should throw in the weather ball to get a bit of chip damage, but so it goes. Obstagoon can come back in again, and now it's matched up with the Marowak. Now, whilst normally double resisting your counter is a downside, actually in this scenario it can be an advantage because it means there's more energy there to farm. It's more a consolation prize than an actual advantage, but I'll take it. So we can sort of farm it down for Night Slashes, and all it can do is throw Bone Clubs at us. Oh, it's got a Flame Wheel. Okay, I haven't seen Flame Wheel in ages, probably because it's a terrible, terrible move. Either way, it's a bit better in this scenario than Bone Club would be, some Shadow Bone or Shadow Ball would be. So it makes some sense. But we've got the shield off them, they're holding on, and it's an Umbreon in the back. So we're going to drop a Cross Drop here. I think in hindsight I probably didn't need to. I probably should have saved the Night Slash for when the Marowak comes back. However, there goes Gardevoir. Look at that. The tanky monster of the Umbreon is just being torn apart by that charm damage. And wow. And then they've got the Marowak. So Marowak is going to hurt. It is potentially going to one-shot us. Not quite. So again, they resist the charm damage because fire type, but it still takes them down. So that's okay. We'll take that as a win. This is again an example of a team that's alignment sensitive. Right, so we've got Haunter lead. We resist Haunter quite hard, and we hit it quite hard with Night Slash. But of course, in return, triple resists our fighting moves. So they've gone for a switch to Azumarill. We're bringing the Ninetales again. We're going to let the first move land. See if they've got play rough. Sure enough, they do. So at this point we can't afford to farm it all the way, we're just going to have to start throwing Psyshocks to try and get shields. That's okay though, it works out just fine. There we go, got the shield, that's good, so we're probably going to shield the next play rough coming through. If we match shields with them, I think we win this through an Ice Beam. That was clever, that saved a bit of energy, but I don't think it's going to help them. I don't think they're going to get to another one in time. No, they're not. We've actually got another charge move loaded, so probably doesn't matter what we throw because it's a Bastidon and it resists it up the bazoo. But still, there we go. Take a chunk out of that. That's okay though because we've won the switch advantage. We've got our Obstagoon. Obstagoon can batter Bastidon. Now, here's a bit of a tricky one, because obviously I want to keep the Obstagoon alive, and I want to face off the Haunter. But I'm guessing it's only got Ghost moves. So, Ghost is triple resisted by Dark Normal, and Night Slash does that to it. With Bastion in the back, we've got Cross Drop. Their only hope right now is that we've only got Gunk Shot, and the Night Slash damage won't take it down too fast. But not today. That's why we have Cross Drop in many ways. Night Slash is a bit too slow at taking out some of the bigger steals. Galvantula lead. This is favourable for them, so we're going to switch immediately to Ninetales, and then they bring out the Azumarill. So, as before, we play the Azumarill match mostly the same way. We throw our Psyshock and try and get that shield. Azumarills don't tend to like the shield, but sometimes we get one. Okay, even better, got a shield. So, if we let this land, we'll get a shield advantage, and it's play rough. Okay, so we can't really afford to let another play rough land, and they are actually in danger of farming us down at this point. So, I'm just going to let it go and bring in my back row Charmer. Still well played on their part, but as you can see, the chunky power of the Shadow Charm just tears it to shreds. In comes Galvantula. Their lunge is going to debuff us, and it's going to hurt because we're squishy, so we shield. We can take a debuff though, and it's an Umbreon. We're bringing in the Obstagoon to face off against the Umbreon, because again, we've got Cross Chop in our favour. Actually, I think Shadow Gardevoir could probably take them both out, but I'm not going to risk it. The matchup with Umbreon and Obstagoon is just that much better. They do have Last Resort, so it's not entirely one-sided. They can at least hit for neutral damage, but it's not. You know, fighting damage versus an Umbreon is a bit on the unfair side. So I have to say thank you to all the people running double dark teams at the moment, because as you might imagine, this totally ruins them. Caleb Payne's run a nice piece on a really quite strong double dark team. I'm loving seeing that, I have to say. Right, and there we go. The Night Slash is taking down the Galvantula and getting to opponent. I don't think we even needed the Shadow Gardevoir at that point. Right, so Toxcroak. Toxcroak hits the double super effective against the Dark Normal, so we go immediately to Ninetales. Ninetales chunks quite hard against the poison fighting. It's neutral, and they throw a Mud Bomb in return. The danger there is, of course, if they go straight into the poison move, then you're in a bit of trouble. But still, they didn't, so we got away with it. Excuse me. Psyshock going through. Lantern is a great Azumarill counter, and is a great Gunfist counter, so I've seen it a fair bit, but yeah, it doesn't really harm this team particularly. So we bring the Obstagoon out, and we stash away at the Lantern, fish for a boost maybe, might as well get a bit more damage in and a bit more boost potential. We're actually going to let this land, because Shadow Gardevoir with 2 shields is terrifying. And we've got shield advantage as well, so we're in a very strong position. We have to swap immediately to stop them farming us, and look at that Toxicroak go. I don't know if they had time to switch. Okay, so Venusaur is a tough one, because obviously it resists Charm, and I think they're just going for a straight farm down, so that's quite sensible on their part. We're going to throw a Psychic to get that shield off them. This is going to be tight. This is going to be very close indeed. We'll get the shield, and yeah. We do have 2 shields for the Frenzy Plants though, and we're close to that Night Slash. So, first Frenzy Plant coming through, and probably a second as well. Yep, 2 Frenzy Plants back to back. This is going to sting if it lands, but we did have the 2 shields. So, can we get to a Night Slash before the third one? I think the answer is yes. Good game. Whew, close. Any minute now. No rush. There we go. So, what we've got next? Obstagoon into Marowak. So, as before, we like this lead. I'm just going to try and be a bit more cautious and not get suckered by a quick switch on the Night Slash and overcharge just a little bit. Going to let them throw, because we're pretty confident that their shadow moves are the most threatening ones and they don't hurt. So, it's just Bone Clubs. Bone Clubs. Basically, it's just a bait move. It doesn't really do any good at all. So, give them a good whack with that Night Slash and we'll go for another one. Can't really afford to let this land unless they want to lose their AWAC. Yep, and there's the shield and there's the boost. So at this point, I could let it land, but I've got the boost, so I really don't want to. And I'm just going to farm down, and there's another Night Slash. Yes. Are they prepared to go down 2 shields? No, they're not. Right, so we've got boosted Marowak and a Scrafty. So, I mean, that would be okay because we hit quite hard against it, but yeah, we switch immediately to our Ninetales because against the Whimsicott we're trading high damage move with high damage moves, but we have ice damage, so we're going to get that extra shield off them and still actually probably take them down almost as fast. Obstagoon can come back in, finish the job, soak up the charge move, that's fine, might as well be a shield. There we go. And now Gardevoir can come and play, and we know there's a Scrafty in the back, and look at that. Scrafty has a singular downside because it's dark fighting, it's double vulnerable to charm damage, so you do a mental amount with the Shadow Gardevoir, as you saw. Not quite as fast as you delete a Shadow Machamp, but it's pretty close. Okay, Vigoroth lead, they have counter, we have to switch. We switch to Ninetales, and we start chunking away with charm. Out comes Marowak. Now this is a somewhat less favourable alignment because obviously they hit us for super effective and they resist charm damage. We do have Psyshock to get a bit of chip on them, but it's not, as you can see, not a great deal. It's doing okay though. I mean, we are keeping pace with them. They're farming us right now, so they're building up a nice head of steam on their energy, which I think they'll need when we bring the Obstagoon back, because obviously they're left fire spinning and bone clubbing. We're just going to let them land. Keep those shields in play. Keep them for our Gardevoir in the back. And there we go. Go on, throw a Shadow Bone. No. If you've ever seen it, Shadow Bone is triple resisted by this, and it just does nothing at all. So it's always quite fun to watch. Or Shadow Ball even, actually, that's even better. Right, so there's goodbye Marowak, and we've got the boost through, so that's good. That's a good place to be. Going straight into throwing a move, which we anticipate getting a shield because we're boosted. Yep. Oh, it's a Machamp. This is a double fighter team, is it? I think it is. Ooh. No, got the Vigoroth. Well, that's kind of a double fighter. We resist counter damage, so I think this is toast now. As you can see, Machamp doesn't last very long against Shadow Gardevoir either. My opponent concedes before the last charm goes through. So some quite quick matches, you might, as you can imagine. You either win or you lose, and it's quite fast either way. Right, Politoed lead. This is a neutral lead, so what we do is go for a bit of a farm, and then we switch. We'll let it throw its Weather Ball, because Weather Ball is neutral against Ninetales, and we don't want to have too much energy built up there. Go straight into Ninetales there. They build energy so quickly. This is certainly another Weather Ball, and there we go. Reasonable chunk, not too bad, and we can take chunks off them in return with the charm. I think we can survive another Weather Ball, so we don't throw a shield here. See if we can get them to go down and get a shield advantage. Throw the Psyshock. Ooh, not quite. So a shield here. Probably don't need to, but don't know. I want to win the switch here. So in comes a Skarm. So the thing that this team has trouble with is, well, Skarmory basically. It's resistant to charm damage, it's resistant to, it's neutral to ice, it's neutral to fighting, it's neutral to dark. Now here's my mistake. I threw the fighting move thinking, oh yeah, that's neutral to Skarm, but forgetting that Night Slash in fact was too. Still, let's see if we get away with it. Didn't do as much damage as I could, might have managed to get there before another charge move came through. Still. Not quite, we got the boost there. And they're going to take us out here. So now we're left trying to charm down a Steel, which is going to hurt. But I think we might manage it to get there before they get to the next Sky attack. But we have spent our shields now, so a Bomber Snow. Bomber Snow with a shield and we've got no shields. That's not going to end well for us. Still, that's where it goes. Sometimes you lose them. I don't know if I would be able to recover that one, I have to say. So yes, watch out for Skarmory on this one. You really need to kill it with the Obstagoon if you can, but the Ninetales can actually do double duty. Okay, so Roselia, haven't seen that in, well, ever actually. Ninetales can come out and face Roselia, and they've got a Bastidon. So Bastidon obviously does quite well against Charm Ice, so we're just going to throw some Weather Balls with some chip damage, but not really actually anticipate doing much. There's almost no point actually. Might as well just stick with Charming. But we might as well use up that energy, I guess. Going into another Weather Ball, just about. Still not going to make any difference, they're still not going to shield it, they'd be daft. So at this point we need to get the Obstagoon in, and we need to get some good farming on. Now they're stalling actually throwing because I think they want to run out the switch timer. And there we go. So we're going to shield that because obviously we don't really want to be trying to take out a poison type with our Charmer in the back. So Azumarill, we've got a shield, they've got 2 shields. It's not entirely lost, but it's looking bad. Okay, so Ice Beam. Ironically here, perhaps if they had Play Rough, we'd have been slightly better because it takes 1 extra charge move to get there. And as you can see, the next Ice Beam is going to come out, it's going to take us out. We are going to finish off with the Obstagoon, but we're not going to be able to get through 2 shields with our Night Slashes. I mean, we have only got 3 built up, so there's some potential there. We're going to get, we might land one, but I don't think it's going to do enough damage here. Razor Leaf stings, and yep, there we go. So we've done some damage, but not quite enough. Still, I think that was a credible show. Yeah. I don't think I run into Roselia very often at all, so I'm not too worried about losing to it. Right, what's next up? Obstagoon into Medicham. This is a bad one for Obstagoon because obviously it resists the fighting damage and it hits for super effective double. So Marowak comes in, and this is also bad for us. That's kind of unfortunate. We've been counted on the lead, we've been counted on the switch. Let's see if we can recover it with the power of the charm. So we're nibbling away at the load of Marowak. We're just going to let this go down because that low health there, I'm looking at that going, actually, that looks like energy to me. I'm going to bring in the Obstagoon and I'm not going to shield and I'm going to greedily farm because I think, I'm going to guess, they've only got Shadow Ball or Shadow Bone. They're not going to use that. Bone Club doesn't hurt enough to matter. So we are actually going to slap a Ghost with a double resisted counter to build up a lot of energy and see if they actually realise that's what we're doing. There we go. Cost us a bunch of health from the fire spins, but now we've got 2 Night Slashes loaded. So with the Medicham coming back in, we throw 1. It hits neutral because of the psychic and the counter and the fighting cancel out, and we bring Gardevoir in. And I don't know what they were doing there. I think they must have lagged out at the awesome presence of the Gardevoir. But Swampert was toast at that point because with 2 shields, you're just not going to win. I was wondering if that was loading lag, you know, if the shadow effect caused the phone to stall. But either way. Right, so Ninetales versus Obstagoon. We watch and see whether it was a charm first, and if it had been a charm we'd have bailed immediately, but it wasn't, so we're going to stay in. Shadow Gardevoir is very dangerous, but it does in fact lose a straight fight with almost any other charmer because it's so glassy. We do have to go for a switch though because we want to draw out their counter, and sure enough we get it in the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's pretty solid against a Ice Charmer. I mean, it resists the charms, the ice hits for neutral. We might get to another Weather Ball here, but we are just going to let whatever they've got land. I have been flash cannoned by one in the past, and that's double super effective, so it just destroys you, but it'd be overkill here really. So, going to let the charge move land, and so they can't farm us down. That's one of the other advantage actually I find of this. Right, so we finish it off with counters, build up some energy. Still no one's used any shields. It's a good position to be in, because if they don't realise that you've got another charmer in the back, they may well go down with spare shields left. I mean, you've probably seen a couple now already. So straight into the cross chop. I'm anticipating them not shielding this because they're anticipating a Night Slash, and sure enough, that lands. They can't afford for the other one to land though, so hopefully this will be getting the shield from them. Practically speaking, it doesn't matter because I don't think we're going to get another charge move off in this match. And sure enough, 2 shields left. Swampert versus Gardevoir. Now Swampert is a threat here because of its obviously it gets to its charge moves very fast. But as you can see, those charms are chunking it quite thoroughly. 1, 2, 3. Hang on a minute, that was a bit too quick. Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Still, we have 2 shields. We use 2 shields. They can keep their 2 shields. Utterly wasted. Good game. So that was this morning. That was 8 out of 10 wins in 2 consecutive sets. I thought that was a pretty solid showing, I have to say. I've gone and used this team a little bit more for the rest of the day, and it's done me very well. I've had a 5, a 4, and I think it was a 2 for the other one. Still, really solid win rate. It's quite easy to use. It's got a good, potential to bait. It's very alignment sensitive, and it's super annoying. So maybe that's a plus point for you, because I quite like annoying people occasionally. Anyway, so hopefully that's inspired you a little, and I hope your day's going well. Thank you very much for watching.